Welcome back to Framed. Today we have Sydney Waller. She's the Executive Director of the New York State Alliance for Education. Hi Sydney, how are you?
Janice, I'm fine. Thanks so much for inviting me.
I'm so glad that you were able to make it because I met Sydney at one of the programs that the New York State Alliance for Education was sponsoring at the Cultural Education Center this year. Sydney, how long have you been with this organization?
Well, I have been with the organization just about a year, Janice.
Okay.
And I loved that program. Actually, that was such fun when we were all dancing and doing structuring staff development. That was great that you came.
It's neat. You offer so many different programs. What types of programs do you have?
A lot.
I bet.
But I mean, the richness is equal to the arts. So there really is an unlimited number. The program that when we connected was a professional development workshop. And one of the things that we do is that we work with teachers, teaching artists, and administrators around the state with either workshops on professional development, on staff development. We work with teaching artists so that they can better understand school culture and the mandates and the pressures that teachers are under. We work with administrators so that they better understand the learning standards in the arts. New York State actually is one of the leaders in the country as far as its learning standards in the arts.
Oh, wow.
And it has also been leading the nation in assessing the arts. So our professional development workshops are around the state. We also do a lot of advocacy work.
Okay.
And most recently, we produced this poster, the first one of this millennium.
Yeah.
And this poster features an artwork by a third grader from the North Country. Wow. And her name is Elizabeth. And we make sure that every legislator has this, and this is something also that we send out to places around the state, to schools and municipalities. Our tag name here is Creative Capital for the 21st Century. And one of our points is that really the arts education is an investment.
That's true, it is.
It is not a frill, it is an investment.
I know at the program that I attended, there were administrators, teachers, freelance artists that all attended, and it was really set up like a workshop, something that you might bring into a school, like a residency or visiting artist project of dance and movement, and how you can really just get the kids so excited, and while at the same time you're giving them the learning standards that we need in New York State. Are the programs all around the state also? Do you set up and have these workshops everywhere?
Buffalo, Long Island. 2 weeks ago I was on Long Island with that one. New York City.
Wow. Now one of them too, I know you have a portfolio assessment one. Is that primarily geared toward educators?
Primarily, but we hope teaching artists will also take this so that they better understand the forms of assessments that we'll be developing. And of course, many arts educators and many teachers work with teaching artists. This is something that the New York State Council on the Arts has been funding and encouraging. The assessments there are 4 different ones, one in dance, one in theater, one in the visual arts, and these have been under development actually for several years. And New York State has been the leader in the nation for developing assessments in the arts, each one as a standalone. We were actually very fortunate to get Goals 2000 money.
Oh, what's that?
Well, that's a federal grant, and as the name implies, it is over, which is too bad. It's been a hardship because not only did that support the Empire State Partnership Project, which I would love to talk to you about, but also projects such as developing the research and development for the assessments.
Wow. How long has the New York State Alliance for Arts Education been around?
We've been around about 20 years.
Wow. Is it a national thing? Do all the states have an Alliance for Arts Education?
Just about all of them.
Oh, that's great.
And we're all loosely affiliated with the Kennedy Center Alliance Arts Education Network in Washington. We get together there twice a year to share our concerns and to come up with ways that we can help on the state level. in terms of carrying our mission and message to as many people as possible.
Oh, neat. So included in that is the advocacy and the lobbying of the different legislators and congressional folks and the senatorial staff, correct?
Exactly. And they're very supportive. I mean, we are fortunate that this is very much a bipartisan issue, and that both Republicans and Democrats are very supportive.
Okay.
In fact, we just worked with the Legislative Gazette here in Albany and produced the very first 4-page arts education supplement, which would not have been possible without the support of our colleagues around the state. That is the New York State Art Teachers Association, the New York State School Music Association, New York State Theater Education Association, NYSU. It was terrific. And in this 4-page supplement, we are sharing information from a variety of agencies that are very supportive of the arts but don't necessarily know what each other is doing.
Okay.
So we have something about the Cultural Resources Initiative, which is in the State Ed Department, a Regents Forum on helping students bridge that gap, the performance gap.
Because I was interested in, it's a Legislative Gazette article from February 26th on the New York State Alliance for Arts Education. I think it's a very thorough article. It really includes probably, or touches on, I should say, most of the areas that your organization is covering and shows that it's dual partisan support. The article is available through your office, right? Or
Yes.
they can contact the Legislative Gazette. How will people get in touch with you, Sydney, to find out more?
Well, give us a call. If you're out of the Albany area, 1-800-ARTS-NED or 473-0823. And that's area code 518.
I found out through speaking with Sydney that Imagination Celebration, which was huge in Albany, was one of the big projects that the organization was organizing. How many years was that going on for? Several, right?
That went on for over 10 years.
Wow.
And there's still a few sites in the nation that do Imagination Celebration. This is something that was initiated by the Kennedy Center. I think we have, this is a poster from the Imagination Celebration.
It's beautiful.
Period. And as you can see, and this one is from 1990.
Okay.
So that's a good 10 years ago. But it was wonderful the way all the teachers around the state participated and the legislators supported it. But we've moved away. The trend has been to move away from that type of an activity and to move more into the professional development. What do the teachers want? Can we provide that? What do the classroom teachers want? What do the arts educators want? How can we support them?
That's great, because the program I attended, we had demonstrations and workshops and things that we actually worked through in order to make us better arts and education people, to understand, to be more prepared, to increase the number of learning standards in each of the residencies, and get to really have firsthand practice, and then to have so many peers there, and actually different fields in the arts, to critique the work, which I thought was really one of the real benefits of the workshop. Now you also have this Empire State Partnerships project. What's happening with that?
Well, that is, again, that is sort of the biggest experiment in the nation right now.
Okay.
The Empire State Partnership project is funded primarily by the New York State Council on the Arts. And it's a remarkable, I mean, the emphasis here is on partnerships as opposed to something contained within a school. And it's partly reaching out to cultural organizations in the community. So on so many levels, this really makes good sense. For example, here in Albany, the Albany Institute works closely with the high school right here in the city, and in the North Country, the Antique Boat Museum works with the local school. The partnership project is, there are 56 of these sites around the state, and some have been going on now for 5 years.
Wow.
And in a way, it's a gigantic incubator or learning lab. We're very fortunate that the National Endowment on the Arts has provided a $60,000 grant so that we can document and share the practices that have been coming up in the Empire State Partnership Project.
Do you generally put something together on your own in terms of the organization, it's really inclusive, or do you reach out to other organizations for support?
We always work with other organizations. We're an alliance.
Okay.
We have lots of allies, and we're always looking for more. We have allies in the business field. Our main stakeholders and allies are the New York State Education Department, which provides us with space, and we do everything we can to support their efforts in terms of meeting the learning standards in the arts.
Now, the office is at the Cultural Education Center then, right?
We are. We're on the concourse level.
Okay. And
just moved.
Oh, okay. And does the state fund you in part? Do you have a base funding already in place?
We get our operating support in part from the State Council on the Arts. So that, you know, of course, they're headquartered. But that is money, that is legislative money, of course.
Yes.
And the legislators have been extremely generous. I mean, the money had really decreased a great deal several years ago.
That's what I heard. All the funding, I think, for arts education was really going down. And I've been hearing now that it's a good time to get back in and to participate, that there's new money coming in. Is that true?
Yes, and it's the largest program actually at the New York State Council on the Arts in terms of budget size. I think the word is getting out that arts education is truly a transformative experience. I mean, it's good for individuals, it's good for society, it's good for business. Young people who've been involved in long-term sequential quality arts education are well prepared for the new economy, the global economy of ideas, as Alan Greenspan called it.
Now, for the people watching this program who maybe hadn't experienced what arts and education is, would you explain to them that it's not really about the art teacher who the school has hired to be there every day? It's about residencies and bringing in visiting artists. So what's the difference between arts education and having an art class or an art teacher that's already in place at the school?
Good question. Of course, we are extremely supportive of art teachers and work closely with NYSATA, the New York State Art Teachers Association.
Oh, okay. So you do things already with
arts educators, with art teachers. We're very supportive, and in every way with the music teachers, dance and drama teachers. In fact, with the music, New York State School Music Association, we partner with them, if you will, to identify deserving and brilliant New York State young musicians whom then go to Washington with fellowships. And three have just been identified who will be going to Washington to work with the National Symphony Orchestra.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. No, that's great. Those are the arts educators. Then there is arts in education, which has to do with integrating the arts across the curricula. For example, how could you really teach social studies if you didn't consider the dance and culture and art of a people? There are very inventive ways of teaching math, science, you name it, using the arts.
So an arts and education person goes into the school. Is that always the case where they're a guest or a visiting artist doing a residency if you're arts education?
Pretty much, yes. But there are some schools do have full-time people who are arts and education specialists.
Oh, they do?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But the big push is collaboration for many reasons. I mean, it strengthens the program for the students in case a teacher leaves. The program hasn't gone. If the teachers are working together, teamwork has a way of energizing teachers and the children in a way that nothing else quite does it.
Okay. So am I correct in the explanation that an art teacher who's established at the school who would be teaching art, music, different forms of art or music, is really covering that area where arts education person going into the school is concerned with maybe teaching a science project through the arts, or what was called learning standards.
Right.
Or it could be math, theater. I think career development is one of the learning standards, working in occupational work. And so it's sort of like you're tying in other aspects of the curricula into the arts project.
Yes, yes,
and that's
yes.
what is that the primary focus of the organization?
Well, no, I wouldn't say it's our primary
Just
focus.
one of
yes,
many?
because actually we are the New York State Alliance for Arts Education,
Okay.
not Arts in Education.
Okay, arts
we are
education.
supportive of quality programs which do bring the children into contact with the arts on a sustained and long-term basis. So we also are, arts educators are fabulous. Many arts educators, in fact, do work with teachers, with classroom teachers, and classroom teachers work with the art teachers.
Now, what areas of art is this covering? It's music, poetry, visuals, theater?
Interestingly enough, poetry is considered the English language arts.
Okay.
So although I think to you and to me and to the general public, rightfully so, poetry is an art. In terms of the state curriculum, it is in another area.
Okay.
So we focus on art, meaning the visual arts, dance, drama, which is often taught by English teachers.
Oh, yes, it is, right.
And music.
Okay,
Of course, this is K through 12.
K through 12. And exclusively in public schools, or would you go into private schools as well?
We would go into private schools because we think that all children should have access to the arts, and sometimes there are fewer arts offered in private schools, believe it or not. So we provide our information to all who ask.
Oh, great. Now, what's happening with the charter schools? I know that's becoming a trend here in New York State, and there was an article, I think, written, or a column, it involved the charter school. What's happening with that?
Well, I don't know the magnet school.
Oh, a magnet school.
Okay,
so that's
okay.
different from a charter school.
Yes, and they're both interesting. Now, Syracuse, many schools now have magnet schools.
And that's where the school is actually specializing in a certain area, but it's still part of the public school?
And they have, yes, it's still definitely a public school.
Okay.
And we were thrilled that a school that we had nominated for the Kennedy Center Creative Ticket of Excellence Award went on to win a National School of Distinction Award, one of only 5 in the nation. It was a Syracuse Franklin Magnet School for the Arts. And here you have a picture of the superintendent,
Oh, great.
the vice principal, and the arts district person. And actually, apparently, as a result of their recognition, the city of Syracuse then appointed a district arts coordinator, which they had not had heretofore. That was just fabulous.
So are the magnet schools sort of like what New York City's had for quite a while, like the School of Performing Arts and then the Bronx Science School? Is it like that? There's specialized areas in that particular school?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Recognizing our recognition of the magnet school, it makes such a difference on the grassroots level.
Okay.
For example, we also, in fact, Ithaca, I keep moving upstate here, but in Ithaca, their Board of Education was a nominee on a national level for their outstanding support of arts across the curriculum and of all the art forms. This was an award that was advanced by the New York State School Board Association and by the Alliance. It was a collaborative award. Other years we've worked with the New York State superintendents to recognize a superintendent, because in the end you need that leadership. You need the leadership to support the programs in the school. You may have heard of Gaining the Arts Advantage, that in addition to Champions of Change, that particular study made it very clear that leadership, a critical factor for success for these schools in the arts, is the funding and the moral support, if you will, that they get from the boards of education.
Okay.
So that's why we think it's very important to recognize different bodies. Right now, as a matter of fact, we're in the middle of another competition, if you will, for the Creative Ticket Schools of Excellence program,
great.
which is run by the Kennedy Center also.
Okay. What other programs do you have? In addition to the Partnerships Project, or other projects, I should say, additional projects that you'd like to talk about?
Well, we love working with other organizations.
Okay.
For example, right now we're working with the Schenectady Museum on a program, the Crayola Dream Makers program.
Oh.
Are you familiar with Binney and Smith?
No.
Well, the Crayola people,
Okay.
the people who fabricate the crayons. And they are truly a marvelous leader in terms of demonstrating corporate support for the arts. They recognize that through the arts, young people are tapping into energies and skills and developing skills in a whole new way. They work with schools around the country, youth museums, for example, and so teachers have been working with Binney and Smith materials to develop this.
Cool. Because I think it's Crayola that's doing the commercials,
Absolutely.
right? Saying arts education improves
Yes.
students' well-being and
Absolutely.
Time in school, and which I really believe in, that you really need, to have the arts and be well-rounded in school. I mean, it just benefits everyone in the long run. So Crayola's really involved.
They've been great. They've been great in supporting these kinds of partnerships. We also are working with, have you heard of the Olympics of the Visual Arts?
No.
Okay, this is a program
of today. This is great.
This is a program of the State Education Department.
Okay.
And that's going to be happening in May. Actually, that's also going to be happening in Schenectady.
Oh, wow, neat.
Again, this is a collaboration, and Roger Heinman at the State Education Department just deserves so much credit for bringing this along. It involves hundreds of children on that day.
Oh. Now, do you do a lot of work directly with children, or is it more directly on the professional level of working with the educators themselves and administrators?
Yes, yes, we really work much more with organizations, because in the end this has more of an effect on total school reform and will have more of an impact in a larger arena. I mean, those are the people who are working with the children, and the more we are able to support their efforts, the better off the children will be in the end.
I think so. So it's really giving the information at the higher up, but then allowing it to be brought down to the children, and giving them things that are going to help them in the future.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Did we talk about how the indirect, if you will, attributes that children acquire by being in the arts?
We haven't talked about it yet, and I'd love to hear about it. I think that's, the best part about it is finding out what's going to happen down the road.
Thank you, yes. The research in Champions of Change, which was a major study conducted by 7 different research teams around the country, from Stanford University to Columbia, Teachers College at Columbia, looking into what it is about the arts that can, does involvement in the arts actually impact learning? And the answer is resoundingly yes.
Great.
Young people involved in the arts are team players. They tend to be much better communicators. They tend to be they are great problem solvers, because every time they are working on something, whether it's a visual art piece or a play or a musical composition, many discrete and subtle skills are in play to get to that point. And these are skills that then can be applied to other areas, including the business world.
Oh, that's great. I've noticed going into some of the Schenectady City schools that there's, I've seen posters like, these are careers in the arts, like letting the children know at a grade school level that there is work out there in the arts. I mean, just for yourself right here, I mean, as administrative work in the arts, coordinating events and programs and workshops, either at the regional level, the state level, the local level, as well as, you know, graphic arts, performing arts, visual arts. There's so much out there that you really don't have to be discouraged. I think that's what happens a lot, is people are discouraged from fields of art and thinking, oh no, that's not a future. You know, there really is. There's a lot of opportunities out there.
Absolutely. I don't think we would be in this room. We wouldn't have any objects in this room if it weren't for artists. The chairs, the fabric. I mean, they're just such a wide spectrum of opportunities. As you were saying, the graphic arts and in sound and music and soundtracks for movies. And
yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
right.
But industrial design, architecture, historic preservation.
And
many careers. It's a very, very fertile area for people to think about in terms of careers. And of course, this is our culture. When all is said and done, what remains of a civilization? Yeah. It's music, it's poetry, it's architecture, it's paintings. What more remains?
That's true. Wow, that's a good thing to think about. Because I know one of my artist associates is an administrator. She's an executive director at a local arts organization, and she's an artist. You know, she does sculpting and storytelling and painting, and she does arts education work, and you know, she's made such a full life. She probably wished she could clone herself. You know, I think there are a lot of people out there like that that really just find so many things to do, and they're so involved with it. Sydney, would you give the audience your phone number and way to contact yourself again to them, or way to contact the organization?
Absolutely. Please call us at 1-800-ARTS-NED, very cute,
yes,
518-473-0823. Please be in touch. We'd love to send you information.
You have a brochure that you could just call and ask for a brochure that describes the latest project. These are things you can sign up for. Are there any restrictions on people that can come to your workshops?
Not really. I mean, we tend to print the kinds of people who might be interested, whether it's especially for teaching artists or for administrators. But by all means, if a parent is interested, if somebody's interested in coming, there is a very specialized vocabulary in some of these. On the other hand, we learn. We're into lifelong learning. That's what professional development is about. So, you know, we would be happy to talk it through if somebody's interested to give us a call.
Because I know for myself, just when I went into arts education, it was understanding about the learning standards, just those two words. What does that mean? Because that's so critical in what we do, and but you folks made it so easy, you know. All right, Sydney, well, thank you so much for coming, and good luck with all your many projects throughout the year, and you're traveling around the state and everywhere that you go.
Thank you, Janice. This has been wonderful. Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And we'll see you next time on Framed.